Well,
Exciting.
welcome to episode 2 of an A and B conversation. Be ready to get
Woo-hoo.
going?
I am. I am. I got my glass.
Well, get your glass. Get your glass. We got to get ourselves
Always,
glassed up.
always glass.
Hmm.
I read that having just a little gloss on your lips just makes a huge difference in your whole appearance. So always have gloss
Look
on
like
your
you have makeup on when you don't have makeup on.
exactly a little gloss up. So in today's episode, we are talking about exercise disciplines. Oh, what's
And
working, what's
what
not
works for each of
working.
us? And I will tell you, B works for me.
I work for you. Oh, thank you.
It
I
does
love
work
that.
for me.
I love it. I love it. You
In
know,
fact, we did this
oh,
morning. We
we
worked this
did. We did weights today. So we've
morning.
incorporated weight training into your classes, which I think is so important for as we age, right? Because we lose muscle and and we need that extra muscle. Even though I love, love, love Pilates, I think it's been amazing for me. It's been amazing for you. You've been
Hmm.
forever with me. So I think it's such a great combination. I think if you
Right.
do just one exercise discipline, that's all you do, I think you're giving your body a disservice and you're prone to injuries too. I think if you're only doing one thing, we need to cross train. I think that's super important, for our bodies, especially as we get older, you know.
Dreadful words. Dreadful words.
They are dreadful words, but
But one of
unfortunately,
the reasons too that we do this and what we're talking about this is we've gone through, especially this year, you have had some challenges, physical challenges, where all of a sudden you wake up, what is happening? What is
I'm
going
like,
on? I don't
what the hell
understand.
is this?
What is this now? I mean,
Yes.
and I think we all experience moments of that, like, why is this knee all of a sudden hurting? Or why is this hip aching and this one isn't? Or all of a sudden your neck is tight or your shoulders are, and it can be a combination of things. But a lot of times it's what we've done, how we've slept, what movements we did the day before, or maybe we didn't move the day before and we were lazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I swear sleeping jacks me up sometimes, like
Yeah.
trying to figure out the, oh, pillow between my knees now, here, all these different things. And like you said, I swear it was like you hit number 50, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, why? Yeah, my knee. Ow, I had to have PRP on my knee. Okay. And now the other knee is hurting because I was favoring the one knee. And then I had a nerve thing on my
Yeah.
shoulder. What is happening? I have a labral tear in my hip, all these weird things where yeah, I was fine before. I was actually not too bad in my 40s. I mean, I had some of these things, but it wasn't so bad. And then all of a sudden you get over that little
Right.
hump. And it's
Well, I
like,
think that's something that people don't realize too, is because we um, work out 3 days a week together. Well, I work out 3 days a week
you
with
work
you.
out. I tell you what to do.
She tells me what to do. But because of that, we're on a regular schedule. A lot of things, there's things I'll do sometimes before a workout, like getting on the rebounder and bouncing for 20 minutes just to get my body warmed up to do effective workouts or
Yeah.
to get my heart rate already up so that I don't start off cold. It doesn't happen all the time. I try to, but I do notice a difference when I get on and do something first
Yeah,
before working.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I try to get you guys to do a little warm up too. We always warm up with some stretches and movement.
Mhm.
And I think
Mhm.
that's so important too is our mobility. We lose
Absolutely.
mobility. And you notice when you first start working out, you shouldn't go like cold right into it, right? It's like, oh no, I need to get my body moving. Maybe do some of these movements, like some squats and some shoulder movements, some stretch, lateral stretches, all sorts of things to get the body wake. I
Mhm.
actually have a lot of students tell me before they come, they do some foam rolling, they do some mobility work like you do the rebounder, or they go on a walk, something to get their body warmed up, ready to move because we are
Absolutely.
stiff, especially if you do it first thing in the morning. Even if
Mhm.
you do it later, you've been sitting behind a desk. It's like, oh, been sitting behind a desk all day and you're stiff, everything just locks up. But back to the cross training, why I think it's so important, why I am getting my personal training certification. I'm working on that. So it's a lot of work because I do love adding the weight training into our Pilates training. And then the more I've been reading about the perimenopause and the menopause and things that happen in our body, we start to get that little belly action happening, which is not pleasant. So there's something called HIIT.
Oh, the
As we're
belly.
giggling about the belly. But
Yeah.
there's training called HIIT, which stands for high intensity interval training. And they're very short spurts. You could do like a 20-minute thing once or twice a week. You could do it I do it on my spin bike. You could do it on the rebounder. You can,
Hmm.
people who want to jog, walk, those kind of things, but they're short, like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and you just challenge yourself and go as hard as you can. But I guess what I've read about it, what it does for us, and I have my little notes here, is that it improves our cardiovascular health, increases calorie burn. Yes, we want that.
Ooh,
Builds
want that.
muscle mass, which we need because it
Hmm.
goes down, down. Boost metabolism, and it's short. Literally, you could do it's 20 minutes. You don't have time. So many of us are like, oh, I don't have time to work out. You could do a 20-minute HIT program. They're so easy to do. You have a
Yeah.
timer. So I think, that's something that really helps like boost everything up. I feel different when I do it too. I'm like, whoa,
Hmm.
all right. And then I'm done in 20 minutes. Like, this is
Right.
awesome.
Well, there's something too, like we talked about, like for particularly since I did the rebounder before, it helps your lymphatic system. It just gets the blood kind of pumping so that you're warm and ready to do some of the strength training or the Pilates. It does give you that cardio um, work as well. So your heart rate is already a little bit elevated before you go into more static workouts. When we do weights, we do a lot of static stuff. Not today. Today was not a static day.
We were
It,
moving.
it was a moving and grooving day.
It was.
Lots of moving, lots of grooving, and lots of things in 3 rounds. And there was a lot of legs and a lot of everything. I think that's the other thing too. It's not focusing on one area of your body, because some people will just focus, oh, it's a leg day or it's an arm day or whatever. I think it's great that the way you train us, me and Kathy, or when you do your group classes, it's an all complete body workout. And there's always a way where you're trying to figure out, okay, I got to cover all the aspects from head to toe. Because
Right?
many times you'll make us do things that challenge our brain as well. And those
Yes.
brain teasers where we're moving one way, it's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time, but we're doing it in an exercise. We're doing it as we exercise. And so that really helps you think to focus. And I think one of the things I like a lot is the cues you always give about, hey, pay attention to your feet. Where are they? Pay attention to your knees. What's going on? Pay attention
Hmm.
to your hip. Don't do it so fast, Make sure you're
Right.
doing it's all about doing it right too. And I think that's extremely important what people don't realize. Hey, you could do 20 minutes. You could do 20 minutes really badly, or you can do it really effectively.
Absolutely. I mean, your form, that's what's so important. And we do these classes online too, and we still can really dial into the form. When I have people in person, obviously I can touch them and grab them and whatnot, but we're still really focusing on where are your knees going? Where are they tracking? What are your feet doing? What's your shoulder
Hmm.
doing? And I think that is so, so important. And like you said, it's more efficient. You can do these moves. You can do up down squats as many as you want. But
Right.
are you just using your joints? Are you focusing on those muscles? Your form of how you're holding yourself. I think that's what's so, so important
Well,
in,
like
in
what you
all
had
kinds
us
of
do.
things.
Well, what you had us do today with those two weights, where we went down and we set the weights down. And
Yes,
then we picked him back up and stood back up. And it's like, think that you're lifting a box. Well, think about how many times we have to lift something or bring it
right.
up off the floor. And if we do it right, then because a lot of times it's just regular everyday movement that people get into trouble.
Right. right? It's practical movements. Like I always called my training functional fitness,
Mm.
and I think it is functional, like functional fitness. Yeah. I
Peace.
had a
It's
student, right? Beast functional fitness. I had a student once tell me that she wants to be able to pick up her suitcase and put it in the overhead compartment and not have someone
hmm
help her. And I always
Yeah.
think about that. I'm like, you're right. I want to be able to get my suitcase out off that thing that spins around and around where
Yeah.
you're chasing it,
Yeah.
and not look like a fool and be able to pick it up and lift something over my head
hmm
or pick
hmm
something off the floor and
Right.
not jack me up too. Not
Yeah.
hurt my shoulders, not hurt my back. We're trying to get this muscle built up because we can, even though we're getting older, you can still build muscle. I think that's a huge myth. I mean, it does decline. Does decline pretty quickly, especially if you don't work out. But
Right.
we can build our muscle, we can improve it, and it helps our bones, which we
Oh,
really
it's
need.
it's almost imperative for women to make sure you do some form of good strength training. It doesn't have to be, you're not lifting 50 pounds. We're doing somewhere between, sometimes we're doing stuff with 3 or 5 pound weights, and other times we're doing things maybe 20,
Mhm.
25. We're not like 100-pound weights. We're not being unrealistic in what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. But we do want to start getting some of that weight up, depending on
Yeah,
what we're
which we
doing.
have been,
Obviously,
which we
which we
have
have
been.
been, right?
Yes.
We're building up, used to do bicep curls with tens. Now you're doing like 15s. And it's
Yeah.
it's important for us to get to that fatigue,
Yeah.
when you are lifting weights. I think it was interesting. Back I was thinking about this. Back in the day when I was like in my 30s, I was teaching some of these like boot camp Pilates classes or bar inspired classes
hmm
like that. And we used only 3 pound weights, three, maybe 5 pound weights. And at that time, it worked. It was great. I had my muscles were strong, they were defined. But now, as I've gotten older, it's like, oh no, we need to up this weight.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to get some heavier weight and not be scared of heavy weight too.
I
You
agree. I agree. And I think it needs to start when people are younger. And I think that's what people don't realize. It's like, oh, well, I don't need to do quite that. But there is some balance to what we do regularly 3 days a week, which helps, even if for some reason that week is busy and I only get those three things in, it just makes a huge difference in just your how your body functions, how it looks.
know.
Considering I'm heading into 60, I'm tone. People. I hopefully I don't look 60, but
No, you don't.
it is what
No,
it
you
is.
don't.
Gotta
I,
do
I
what you gotta
like,
do to get through.
I can't believe that this is the 60th year. It's like, I mean, it's awesome and you look amazing and you're just what people want to strive for is having that balance and
Yeah.
doing these different types of disciplines. And something else I wanted to get into was all these weird fads. There's
Mm.
so many weird workout fads, tried and true. Pilates has been around for a very long time and it is super important for our core strength, for our back
Mhm.
strength, and just overall health. I think Pilates is so good for us, but then we need that strength element and we need to keep our muscles strong, our bones strong, and it's such a good combination. But I mean, all in all, it does come down to do what you love as long as you're moving.
Right. And I mean that could be, some people like their spin classes and other people like yoga and but it's good to do not just those things. It's
Yes.
so good that we have changed and kind of rebalanced. Also we've since we've been online, we've been doing the motor, which is a very unique Pilates tool.
Tired. Yeah.
Yeah, Pilates inspired tool. And we do so much with that. That's unbelievable that that contraption, which is very inexpensive, we do so much. And there's so
Right.
many different ways to do things with that device. It's really, truly unbelievable. At some point, we'll have to show people what it actually is. Because when you talk about the
Right.
motor, they go, what? And then you have to show it to them. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. But to see the variety of things that we have done and the things we've made up along the way,
Right.
just been such a great instrumental tool where we're increasing weight in terms of resistance, but really Pilates is all about using your body weight as well as part of that
Hmm.
resistance factor so that, you know, we strengthen it organically as well, not just through you know what I'm trying to, we're not just strengthening it by
With
lifting
external weight,
here.
with like heavy external weight. Yes, yes. It's
Right.
more endurance too. You know, a
It is.
lot of stuff with Pilates is about endurance and stability.
Yeah.
And so that's where,
And
all
it's
the
not
years.
100 reps.
No.
It's targeted reps or it's repetition of reps multiple times because it's built whether it's a cardio function or it's more of a strength function or even as we'll get into probably on the next episode talking about balance. Oh my gosh, that's a whole
Oh, that's a
other
whole
thing.
thing. That's a whole thing. And balance, our stability and balance just drops down
Yeah.
very dramatically. Super, we don't even realize. It's so funny because I have some students that come in and I get them on the floor, like up and down off the floor, and they have trouble getting down on the floor and getting
Hmm.
up. And you don't realize, when was the last time you were rolling around on the floor? You know, it's like
Yeah.
we need to be able to get down and get ourselves up. And that's
Yeah.
where all that, and not be scared. I've had some people be kind of scared to do that,
Yeah.
but we need to be able to have that balance, that core strength to get up and down off the
Yeah.
floor and use our feet too. So
Yeah,
much.
you do a lot of stuff where we move through the articulation of our feet. And I don't think
Hmm.
people realize how important that is to be able to flex your foot, flex your toes, and do things where you learn to move those bones and those muscles. Because I think how many bones are in the foot? I mean, there's
Oh my
so many
gosh.
bones in the
There's a
foot.
lot of bones. I can't even remember. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but there are so many bones in our feet.
And people get in problems and they have feet that their feet hurt. And a lot of the things that we do, whether it be on the motor or with um, doing some of the strength training, or
Pilates.
when
Yeah.
we do things where we're bridging and you make us grip the roller on the motor with our toes to just, or you make us flex our heels
With your
to
heels. Yep.
engage different muscles, which the people that have the biggest problems are typically knees. Knees seem to be one of the biggest problems, hips,
Yeah.
and shoulders. Those seem to be
Mhm.
like the three main areas where people seem to have problems. And
Yeah.
just by doing, like, I have very good foot strength and my knees, I remember a couple years ago, my knees were starting to hurt me and we started doing more strengthening of our quad muscles
Yes.
and, to help, because your quad muscles are the ones that help keep that knee in
Yes.
in a protective state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's
No,
just
we
so
need that.
important.
Yep. Oh no, absolutely. And I always tell everybody, you squat for the rest of your life. You sit up and down from a chair. You need to use the toilet. You need to be able to sit down and come back up, you know? Like, don't want
You
to have to
sit, you get
grab.
in and out, you have to sit, get in and out of a car. You have to get
Exactly.
in and out of the car. You have to sit when you sit at your computer, sit and have dinner, you know,
Yep. Yep.
and
It's
like,
back to that old saying of, use it or lose it. And
mm-hmm,
and really, and there's been a lot of studies on osteoarthritis because that's where the knees, the shoulders, the hips, that's where we get the arthritis a lot. I mean, we get it all over the bodies, but those are, big places in the bodies that get osteoarthritis. And there's studies that you need to move. I think instinct is, oh, I don't want to move, it's going to hurt. But you have to move. You have to keep going. You have to keep moving. You got to keep strengthening. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it
mm-hmm.
doesn't feel the best, you
Well, there's a
know?
difference though between hurts and
Yeah.
sore. And that's
Oh,
if you
absolutely.
have pain, pain is definitely different than being sore. There's a soreness is good. Or like
Yeah.
you always laugh if I say my legs are shaking. Oh, good. I'm so glad. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so glad. So glad my legs are shaking and I can, can't really stand up. But that's okay.
I can't
It
walk
goes
down the
away.
stairs.
It
Can't
goes
walk
away.
down the stairs. My legs are shaking.
Yeah. Or when we do our group class with Kathy, who's just a tad older than us. but in great shape,
Amazing.
looks
Right.
fabulous, works hard. And let me tell you, that woman, she'll say, I'm going to be sore tomorrow. And then she shows up. And I think that's the other thing. Just show up. You may
100%.
get, there have been days, today was one of them where I got up, I don't know if I want to do this today. And you
Right.
just have to show up. You just got to
Right.
move, take that first step, walk out the door, get in the car or get online or do whatever. Just pull out the stuff and just make it a habit. Because I think, it takes 30 days to create a habit and
Is
2
that
days
what it
to
is?
break it.
About 30
I
days.
think it's 30 or 60 days to create a habit and 2 days to break it.
2 days to break it.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, it's easy
It's a
to break.
lot easier to say, yeah, I'm not going to do this today than
Right.
it is to pick up and go, okay. And I think
Mhm.
that's what's one of the great things for us is we have scheduled time. We always have
Yeah.
regularly scheduled time, and that might be something that people don't think about, but I know especially with moms who have children, people that have different things going on in their lives, you always have to schedule some time for yourself because if you don't, no one else is going to for you.
No, no, 100%.
Yeah.
And you have to schedule it like it's an appointment, like it's your doctor's appointment that you're going
Oh
to
yeah.
and
Or your
cancel it.
hair appointment or your nail
Or
appointment or your
exactly.
doctor's appointment. It's you have to think of it as important as your doctor's appointment.
Exactly. Exactly. It is. Exercise, fitness, health is so important for us for longevity, just to
Hmm.
make you feel better,
Yeah.
to the muscle mass to help with bone loss so we don't have fractures because
Hmm.
once you get a fracture, it's hard to come back to from that, especially as
Hmm.
you age. When you get
Yeah.
older, like, oh man, and I've seen it.
And
It's
we've
really,
heard
really
of people
hard.
falling, we've heard of people injuring themselves and coming back and being able to come. But I think that's one good thing. Like if you're on this plan and we're doing what you and I do weekly. If something does happen, I find that I can recover quicker than
Yeah,
I could have if I was more stagnant.
if you weren't consistent.
Yeah, if I wasn't consistent. And I think consistency is
Absolutely. Absolutely. Consistency is the key with everything, even when it comes to diet.
mm-hmm.
Diet, fitness, everything is being consistent, holding yourself accountable. And,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to enjoy what you're doing too. You have to
Right.
love it.
Yeah, you have to
Um,
have fun. It has to be fun. And
it
I think
has
that
to be
we do
fun.
it because we're interacting, regularly.
Yes.
That
Yes.
it's somewhat, there's days where we're just laughing the entire time. And there's other days where Kathy and I might be complaining, but it's mostly because on days when we feel that she's being mean to us.
I'm never mean. Never mean. It's always with love. It's always with
That's
love.
it. She she levels us out with love.
It's because I care.
That's
That's why.
right. That's right. It's because she cares.
Right.
Well, I think all in all, this might be a good way to take a break, and then we'll get into the next topic, next episode, which is balance and stability. And
Right.
but just remember, whatever you do, wherever you're at, just give yourself some grace, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And try to move as much as you can.
Just move. That's really, really the big thing is just move, open the door, just
Right.
walk outside, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
That's all you need to
Well,
do.
B, we'll see you on the next episode.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.